highlight of the Passover Seder is B'chol Dor V'Dor Chayev Adam Liros Es Atzmam Kilu Adzav Yotzav Mitzrayim. We have to feel as if we're leaving Egypt right now on the night of the Seder. The question is, why would that be? Why wouldn't it be enough to thank God for the great things that He did for our people in the past? And to recognize that if that didn't happen to other people a long time ago, then we would still be slaves. Why do we have to feel right now as if we're leaving Mitzrayim? I believe the answer can be understood from recalling the thought of the late Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir Yeshiva, of Chaim Lev Shmulevitz. According to the Jerusalem Talmud, the first mitzvah that we received in Mitzrayim was not what we normally think of as the new moon mitzvah, Kiddush HaChodesh, but rather the mitzvah of freeing slaves. He asked, why would the Jerusalem Talmud think that it's so important, the mitzvah of freeing slaves, that would be the first mitzvah commanded to us, the Jewish people, when we were about to leave Mitzrayim? And he explains that God was telling the Jewish people that right now, remember this feeling, capture this feeling. How does it feel to be a slave? It's terrible. Your whole life is determined by someone else, and you're tortured, and the hard work day in, day out. Remember that feeling, because one day, you, the Jewish people, have slaves of your own. And they're going to ask you to let them free, and you're going to want them to work forever. But the Torah says you have to remember this feeling now and free them when the 6 years is up. That mitzvah was given to them now so they could capture that moment, they could feel it in their heart. And I think that's why, on the night of the Seder, we have to feel as if we were slaves and we were freed. Because God wants us to capture that feeling of being a slave and to feel the horror and the despair and to have that, and then to be freed, and that to motivate us to treat other people around us who may find themselves in horrific and terrible situations with compassion and to help them. So I always argue that your Seder will not be determined by how well your matzah ball soup will taste, but rather whether for the remainder of the year you seek out those people who may be in horrific situations, who may be avadim. You remember how that feels, and you're motivated and inspired to help them towards freedom. Chag kosher, Sameach.